Hey, what's up, guys? 98 Sports Talk here. Just wanted to do another quick Georgia update. We've got 5 spots left, got 20 signees, and I think 9 are currently enrolled for the 2018 class already. But so let's talk about those 5 remaining spots and what Georgia needs and who they're going after. Right now, Georgia needs defensive tackles. That's the number one issue. And the biggest defensive tackle that is still kind of in play or on the board, so to speak, for Georgia is a defensive tackle out of South Carolina, Rick Sandidge. Everything I've seen up to this point says that he is going to be a Gamecock. I think I can't remember if he's a South Carolina commit currently, but either way, he's been a heavy South Carolina lean for a long time. Georgia's been building, I think, a little momentum with him, but I think it's still a long shot that Georgia signs him, although Georgia definitely needs defensive tackles. So if Georgia doesn't get Rick Sandidge, then they'll probably turn to Jordan Davis and Tramel Walthour. I'm guessing that's going to be the play there. I'm not sure. I'm not a mind reader, obviously, but everything I can gather points to that. I mean, because Georgia's definitely going to have to sign at least one defensive tackle out of this group, and I believe it'll either be Jordan Davis or Tramel Walthour if they don't get Rick Sandidge. And again, I think Rick Sandidge is a long shot. I do think he'll end up signing with South Carolina, but would love to have him on the Dogs. So that's kind of how that breaks down. One very positive note is Tyson Campbell. He is a 5-star cornerback, shutdown corner from the state of Florida. He had a visit 2 weeks ago to Bama, and this past weekend, to Georgia. And everything I've seen and read just says he's going to Georgia. I don't see how he doesn't commit to the Dogs at this point, to be honest. It just looks like he's definitely going to be a lock for UGA. So good news on that front. Another guy that I think is, I don't want to say he's a lock, but Otis Reese, another 4-star linebacker from the state of Georgia. He's been a Michigan commit for a long time. He would be Michigan's top recruit. But I think UGA is going to flip him. Everything I've seen lately points towards the Bulldogs, and I think Georgia's going to end up signing Otis Reese as well. So I think, number one, we're going to get Tyson Campbell, and number two, we should get Otis Reese. And I believe I said in my earlier video that I think Quay Walker is a heavy Georgia lean. I'm not so sure. He's taken a Tennessee visit, and apparently he really liked the Vols and what he heard up there. He's still also considering Alabama a little bit, but I do think Georgia's in the lead for his services. He's another linebacker out of the state of Georgia, 4-star linebacker. Him and Otis Reese are highly rated 4 stars, kind of on the verge of 5 stars. So 2 very good linebackers there. I do think Quay Walker is still going to sign with Georgia. He's a favorite to sign with Georgia, slight favorite. I think I would say, if I had to give it a percentage, maybe about a 60% chance to sign with Georgia at this point. So the way I'm looking at it is, Tyson Campbell should sign with the Bulldogs, number one. Number two, Otis Reese, I believe, will sign with Georgia. So that's 2 of the 5 spots. Quay Walker is a toss-up at this point, really, even though he is a Georgia lean, but he's still it's kind of in the air there. So I think we've got 2 lockdown spots, kind of as the way everybody can look at it: Tyson Campbell and Otis Reese. Then Quay Walker is definitely a Georgia lean, but still kind of a toss-up. Rick Sandidge out of South Carolina, maybe I can't remember, North Carolina, one of the Carolinas, but he's a heavy Gamecock lean. But it would be nice if Georgia could get him. Georgia's biggest need at this point is defensive tackle. I know Kirby Smart and his staff is pushing hard to get Sandidge on board. But so the way I look at it, Tyson Campbell 1, Otis Reese 2. I definitely think those 2 will sign with Georgia. Again, don't think we'll get Sandidge, but we'll have to sign Jordan Davis or Tramel Walthor. Those are two other defensive tackles. I think both are from Georgia. Yeah, and they're both three-star guys. Georgia's going to have to sign at least one of those guys. Got to get at least one more defensive tackle in this class. Already have one, but at least got to get two. The other remaining spot or spots, depending on how many defensive tackles Georgia signs in this class. You've got Tommy Bush, who's a wide receiver out of I think he's out of Cali. Who else? And a guy, Leon O'Neal, who I haven't mentioned before, and his name has just recently come up. He apparently he's a safety out of Texas, and the highlights I've seen on this guy and the comments that I've read on the internet, supposedly this guy is just ridiculously good. He's only a 4-star, but apparently everybody and their brother thinks he ought to be a 5-star, and he's according to most people, like I said, what I'm seeing, he's one of those guys that you kind of just drop everything, and if he wants to come to your school, you're going to sign him. He had a fantastic visit to Clemson last weekend, so he looks like a Clemson lane. He is visiting Georgia this weekend. He's there right now as I'm doing this video, so I really, I can't speak to how his visit's going. So I'll have more on that maybe next weekend or next week. I'll do another Georgia recruiting update. But Leon O'Neal would be a must sign according to what I've seen if he wanted to come to UGA, if that's what he wanted to do. So then you would have a scenario where you'd sign Tyson Campbell, Otis Reese, probably a Quay Walker, and then Leon O'Neal, and then your fifth signee would probably, I'm guessing it'd be Tommy Bush, who is a tall wide receiver. That would be my guess at this point. Maybe that spot would go to another defensive tackle, Jordan Davis or Tramel Walthor, but I'm guessing they would take Tommy Bush. So that's kind of the update. That's the way I'm looking at it. That's what I've seen. If anybody's seen anything else, let me know in the comment section, and please hit that sub button, trying to build up the channel. Thanks, guys.